Aw, dude, that loss sucked. Who do they play next? Buffalo. Buffalo? Buffalo. Not like in Buffalo. No, this one's in Toronto. Oh, thank goodness. Have they left yet? It's a joke about the snow. There's a bunch of snow coming. We joke about the weather to hide the fact that we're sad that our team lost. They lost! Let's go! Give me what I want! Kick down the door! Drew, you are not doing this! What? Not nice! There's a giant head! You hear yourself? I made like 2,000 of these. I'd like to have fun. With you wherever you are, welcome to LFR. That intro was stupid, and so was that overtime. Leafs lose 3-2 to the New Jersey Devils. In overtime. I should probably throw that out there because that's going to be the whole rest of the day, isn't it? That's going to be all the way until the longest 48 hours ever. What is longer than the time elapsed after the Leafs lose? You know what? Here's what we do. This one's got to be different because this is game 18 of the season on a Thursday night in November. Do you want me to break down the minutia of the game and go bit by bit chronologically? Or do you want me to talk about the good news and the bad news? I want to talk about the good news and the bad news. And if it sucks, then I won't do it again. But I think it'll be okay. But first, want to bet? You can do it at Sports Interaction, Canada's sportsbook. Are you like, hey, I think my team's gonna win, and then it heads to 3-on-3 overtime? Well, you can bet against them, and I'll never tell anybody at Sports Interaction. You can bet before the game, live in play, or on one of their many prop bets made for Canadians by Canadians. Sports Interaction makes it easy to deposit, play, and cash out. Visit now and see all sports betting has to offer. That's sportsinteraction.com/SDPN. I said sportsinteraction.com/SDPN. Ontario only, 19 plus. Please play responsibly. You want to see something about playing responsibly? Sheldon Keefe said, we gotta stop beating ourselves. And then Mikey Stevens followed that up with, I'm not gonna make the joke, it's too easy. Settle down! Okay, so the Leafs lose 3-2 in overtime to the New Jersey Devils. Now, let's play a game called Good News, Bad News. Good news is the Toronto Maple Leafs lost to a better team. They did, you know, you can be upset about the games they lose to the Coyotes and the Ducks, but they lost to a better team. Here's the bad news. Even if you don't want to call the New Jersey Devils the better team, they were the better team tonight. They certainly outplayed the Leafs. The bad news is that the New Jersey Devils look like a better team right now, and they look like a better team in this game, and they outplayed the Leafs. Now, we as a fan base can yell and scream and boast about the regular season not mattering as we say that with a smiley face mask on and tears running down our face, but we know deep down, because the hockey team has explicitly said it many times publicly, they heavily value regular season success. Yes, the Toronto Maple Leafs are trying to win a Stanley Cup, but they are also definitely trying to win the President's Trophy. They badly want to be the best regular season team there is. So when you're walking through the forest known as the National Hockey League and you find a bigger bear, it's not good news. The good news, Pontus Holmberg, that guy's a player. I really do think that guy's a player. The Leafs found a steal in that guy. Now you might say, Steve, a steal? He has one career NHL assist to his name. What are you talking about? And to that I would say, yeah, but he was a 6th round pick, and I'm also pretty sure he was an overager when he was a 6th round pick. And those sort of players don't usually play in the National Hockey League, so every time he laces up his skates and puts on a Toronto Maple Leafs uniform, it is a steal! I liked his hustle, I liked his work ethic, I liked his responsibility, I liked that he was drawing penalties, both ones that were called and ones that weren't. He drew a penalty in this game, and he probably should have drawn at least 2. Over 200 pounds, he's got a little bit of size to him. I think there's a strong possibility he could add a dynamic to this team that they don't have, and a little bit of stability to their bottom 6, because Sheldon Keefe has very obviously been unhappy with what he's seen with all the juggling that he's doing. He seems to have finally found a mix on the 4th line that he likes. Zach Aston-Reese, David Kampf, and Dennis Malgin, who is so fun to watch. But this 3rd line, how many centers have taken a shift on the 3rd line? Kerfoot has been a center on that line. Engvall, Järnkrok, Holmberg. I think Kampf got bumped up a bit. Am I missing anyone? If the Leafs commit to using Holmberg, my only hope is they commit to using Holmberg. Bad news, Nick Robertson was a healthy scratch again. You know, it's funny. After this game, everyone's talking about the mix for 3-on-3 overtime. The fact that Tavares was out there instead of Austin Matthews. The fact that Mitch Marner was out there for another overtime goal against. And Morgan Rielly was out there for another overtime goal against. The Leafs have fallen to 1-4 in overtime this season. That's 4 points left on the table. Those are very valuable points. Here's a fun little piece of trivia. The only guy who has scored an overtime winner for the Toronto Maple Leafs this season was a healthy scratch again! And when he scored that overtime winner, the Leafs' only overtime winner of the season, do you remember what immediately led to that? The Leafs completely blowing it and leaving the youngest guy on their team, a forward, as the only man back as Jamie Benn came down on him with another Dallas Star. So for as bad as the Leafs have looked being 1-4 at 3-on-3 overtime, they could be 0-5 if it weren't for Nick Robertson, who was scratched. I don't know exactly why Nick Robertson is a scratch. I'm sure he really appreciates the NHL paycheck. All the same, the Leafs seem to be hell-bent on making Nick Robertson, who has truly special potential, ordinary. They're hell-bent on making him average by having him eat nothing but press box popcorn. I've had it before. It's not that special. They do have ice cream bars. The coffee is meh. It's meh. The Marlies coffee's worse. Actually, that's not true. When I first started covering the Marlies in like 2008, that was some of the worst coffee I've ever had in my entire life. Over the last few years, honestly, since Kyle Dubas got there, I'm just making the correlation now. The coffee got better. It did. It got significantly better. Where was I going with that? Oh yeah, it doesn't make any sense for the youngest forward on the team and a guy who's got real potential to be the answer to all of your questions on the left wing. It doesn't make sense to have him sit. Now, if he's there because of cap reasons, remember the Leafs are using LTIR. They need to be as close to the cap as possible to get the most out of LTIR as possible. If he is there for those reasons, you're doing it wrong. Use anybody else. Holmberg played a game, got sent down so he could play some games there, and then he came back up. Nick Robertson needs to do the same. He is not going to get better if he's not playing games. The good news, I brought up the left wing and how the Leafs have some problems there. The good news, Michael Bunting is doing really well, man. He had a really slow start to the season, and yes, this was on the power play, so it wasn't exactly like he was on the wing helping to set up Austin Matthews, but Michael Bunting on the power play helping to set up Austin Matthews for a tap-in. Matthews has never had an easier goal than that. But just the fact that Michael Bunting is finding his swagger a little bit after a rough start, that is great news for the Leafs' top six. That is great news for their left side that badly needs it. Here's the bad news. Norman LJR, Alex Kerfoot, goals this season, who has 1 assist in his last 8 games. No goals, no goals, no goals, no goals, a power play goal, no goals, 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 no goals. Oh, but a big bump in ice time. No goals, an even bigger bump in ice time. No goals, no goals, no goals, no goals. You might have noticed that is exactly 1 goal. It was on the power play, not at even strength. Dennis Malgin, who was a healthy scratch at times and has played the vast majority of his time on the Toronto Maple Leafs on the 4th line, has 2! I understand that Alex Kerfoot's job in the top 6 is thankless. He does a lot of the things that you don't want a John Tavares doing, or a Mitch Marner, or a William Nylander, or an Austin Matthews. He's got to play with defense in mind. He's got a forecheck. He's got to go and dig pucks out of corners. That being said, the Leafs have had other guys do this over the years, and all of them were better at it. All of them. And they scored more, too. They definitely scored more than this. Kerfoot didn't score that much, to begin with. He's scoring even less now. And you'd think that the percentages will break his way, and maybe they will coming up. Maybe they will. I would feel more optimistic about that if it didn't look like he was playing terribly, though. He's playing absolutely swaggerless. Like, he's giving the puck away, he's tentative, he's whiffing, he should have at least 8 goals. The amount of times Mitch Marner has set him up point blank. But here's the thing, like, do the Leafs have any solutions on the left wing? I can't think of any. Hey Nick, can you Google solutions on the left wing? Thanks. I can't think of any myself. The good news, William Nylander scored a goal and it was hilarious. His celebration was hilarious. He basically did nothing. It was the most William Nylander celebration ever. I love him. Here's the bad news. No one's gonna remember it. Nobody. Not one. Here's the good news. Matt Murray is the reason this game went to overtime. The reason the Leafs even got a single point in the standings. And I gotta say, ignoring the first game of the season against Montreal, because that was a long time ago for Matt Murray, you look at these 2 games that he's put together, coming back from a pretty serious adductor injury, he looks pretty good. I mean, he doesn't look perfect. He's had to get bailed out a couple times. I don't know how in love I am with the 2 goals he allowed. I don't think I've ever seen a goal that a Leafs goalie has allowed and been like, good, I'm glad you allowed that. But considering expectations and apprehension from the fan base, let's say, and me, let's be honest, I said that the Matt Murray trade could be the beginning of the end of the Matthews era when that trade happened. Given how not optimistic, I know there's a word for that, it's pessimistic, I was for Matt Murray as a Toronto Maple Leaf, through these 2 games, returning from injury, he's looked good. And he's really been a big reason that the team got 3 out of 4 points in those 2 games. Here's the bad news. He was the busier goalie. Like, by far the busier goalie, and probably had to make the better saves. Taking nothing away from Vitek Vanacek, who was actually quite good at times and was extremely frustrating, especially down the stretch in the 3rd period when the Leafs were just trying to tie the thing. Murray had to come up very big several times, and he's the reason that game went to overtime, man. And when it comes to overtime, here's the good news. The Leafs have a number of options, right? You know, everyone's focusing on Tavares and Marner and Riley, but, you know, they could use a guy like Austin Matthews, could use William Nylander. Sandin, I think, might do well at 3-on-3. You know what? I want to see Timothy Liljegren. I even think Justin Hall. Like, he likes to skate. He likes to take that little thing for a walk. Kerfoot, maybe, if he only passes. The Leafs have guys who can skate. I'd even watch David Kampf in overtime. I'd watch it. Pontus Holmberg getting his first NHL goal in overtime. That could happen. The Leafs have lots of options. Here's the bad news. Sheldon Keefe says he went to Tavares to start an OT, in part because Tavares didn't get a chance to see the ice in the Leafs' last OT. Calls it a feel thing. Sorry, what I assume is the largest and most expensive analytics department in the sport. He felt like a decidedly slower player would be better than the reigning MVP. Dude, I love John Tavares. I really do, with all my heart. I've seen him score an overtime goal in person. We know he can score an overtime goal. I'm not even saying he's a bad overtime player. But when you have Austin Matthews, you start him every time! This is galaxies and universes and moons and planets just revolving around your head. Don't galaxy brain this. You have the best player in the sport. Play him. Reigning best player in the sport. Shut up. Steve, are you saying go with the exact same 3 from last time? No. In fact, not at all. Because listen, the last time the Leafs gave up an overtime goal, Matthews, Marner, Riley, that trio looked terrible. And that trio has looked terrible on many occasions in 3-on-3 for the Leafs. But to me, it should start with Austin Matthews. That's where the conversation starts. It starts with one of the best goal scorers in the league, if not the best. It starts with the reigning MVP. It starts with, is he your best player or not? Start him! Especially against the group that the Devils put out there, the fast group that the Devils put out there. Nico Hischier was on one tonight. Matthews, Willie, Liljegren. Matthews, Willie Hall. Matthews, Willie Sandin. Matthews, Jordy Ben. Do whatever. I don't care. It starts with Austin Matthews. You know who else didn't hit the ice the last time the Leafs played overtime? The guy who tied the game there, Sheldon. The guy who won the game last time you won an overtime game is sitting in the press box when he should at very least be in the AHL. The good news is at the time I am recording this video, the Leafs sit 8th in the entire National Hockey League. So what are we all yelling for? What are we all screaming and complaining and just ruining Leafs Twitter in these final moments of Leafs Twitter and Twitter at large? It's done. It's done. It might be done by next videos. Why are we complaining? The Leafs are 8th out of 32 teams, 8th in the entire National Hockey League. That is not just safe, that is make the playoffs in a walk. Here's the bad news. They're 9-9. They have the same amount of wins as losses. You might say, Steve, they're actually 9-5-4. Yeah, that's 9-9. I don't care what Gary Bettman says. That's 9-9. If you went to let's say all 18 games were in person, or you went to all 18 games. 9 times you left with a happy feeling. 9 times you left with a sad feeling. You're happy when they win, you're sad when they lose. That's kind of how it works. It's very rare in November. You're like, yeah, they got a point, like on the GO train ride home after a loss. Look at the teams surrounding the Leafs. The Stars and Hurricanes are 10-5-2. Islanders 11-7. Jets 10-4-1. Why are we sleeping on that team? The Lightning are 10-6-1. Even the Avalanche, who had a tough start, are now 9-5-1. I'm not trying to be a pessimist, but I don't know. That seems kind of relevant. Questions. Number 1, the second power play unit. Why? And number 2, why is Marner starting in overtime? Yeah, see, the Leafs' top power play unit is so stacked that the second unit basically doesn't matter. Like, they're usually given 30 seconds to work with, and they have way less talent. I don't think a playoff spot or home ice advantage lives and dies on the Leafs' second unit on the power play, really. Why is Marner starting overtime? Dude, it should work. Like, that is the forward that the coach, and most coaches, I think, trust defensively over anybody. He's probably the best skater on the team. He might be the most creative guy on the team. He's a good stick handler. He can shoot now, we've learned. He can pass the puck really well. There is no reason that Mitch Marner shouldn't be, like, one of the best 3-on-3 players in the league. Here's the thing. Wow, do they get scored on a lot when he's out there? Wow, like really wow. That mask tilted over in the background, but I'm not going to fix it. The video's almost done. Here's what I would try. Either Austin Willie and a defenseman who's not Morgan Riley, or you can do Austin Mitch and a defenseman who's not Morgan Riley. I kind of think the problems with that trio start with Morgan. I do, and I love Morgan with all my heart. He has not been good enough, man. He has not been good enough. And they need him to be. There's no other option. Last but not least, from NHL History Girl, did you know Borja, as in Borja Salming, paid for the Swedish women's team to attend the World Tournament in 1987? No, Jen, I didn't know that. And you know what? I wouldn't know a lot of things about hockey if it weren't for you. You are wonderful. NHL History Girl is, listen, I'm half looking forward to Twitter's downfall. But I am going to miss people like Jen. But here's the thing. She is a real person and exists off of Twitter. And what I would like to do with this platform that is not Twitter, because there are other platforms outside of Twitter, is pump up people like Jen. So here is where you can follow her. If you're listening to this, she has a Substack, nhlhistorygirl.substack.com/about. I don't know if the about needs to be in there. And she's also on Mastodon, that website that everyone's telling you to try out, and I'm not sure about. It's at NHL History Girl at mstdn.party. So that is it for this one. Thank you very much for watching. Click like if you like this video. Click subscribe if you really liked it. Tell all your friends. Maybe give them your number if you only know them from Twitter. And I will say subscribe again to this YouTube channel. Follow me on Instagram. I got an Instagram. SDPN's got an Instagram. I got a TikTok. SDPN's got a TikTok, right? This thing is on Spotify. And it's just type in my name into the internet and you'll find it.